So hey there fellow YouTubers, Frank Bush here again. So I'm going to be swapping out one of my components within my sleep system, and then I thought I'll just do a more detailed video on the sleep system itself, give you some bearing of if you're wanting to make your own modular systems when it comes to, you want one sleep kit that'll work from 20 above to 20 below Celsius, I'm talking. It's an art form to develop your own and what works for you and what doesn't and that kind of thing, but like I say, I'm swapping out a piece today and putting in a new one, which I think will be an improvement, and stay with me. This is a 35-liter dry bag. Just helps keep the elements out of my sleep system, if you will. And I don't think I need to actually do up the bivy loop, or the hoop, if you will. So I'll just set that aside. But if you've watched previous videos of mine, you've probably seen this sleep system in work. I'll change angles and show you some of the internals. What I've got really is multiple layers that exist within this. So the outside layer is a waterproof bivy bag. This is one of the fancier models where you can put a hoop in and that stuff keeps stuff off your face. But really it acts like a one-person tent. Then you can just set this out anywhere. There's a few pegs, you can peg it to the earth, and really it just becomes an instant waterproof, windproof shelter that's just big enough for a human. But inside that there's some strapping that you can use to kind of brace things down. I've got it out right now, but just to kind of help keep that stuff in place, yeah? But this is a Thermarest Ridge Rest and a foam pad. These are relatively inexpensive, lower middle end of when it comes to this kind of stuff. But the R value I think is almost 3.28 or 2.9 or something like that. So when it comes to the amount of R value you get for the size of it, to me it's worth having. This one's got mylar on it to do increased reflectivity of the body heat back at you. But then I also have a Survive Outdoor Longer mylar sleep system. This is actually what I'm going to be replacing today. This is kind of the outer shell of my sleeping bag system, where the mylar helps reflect the body heat back at you as you sleep inside your sleeping bag. But I find this bivy bag, even though I really like it, it has to go. It's just too small. It's big enough if you can cocoon into it. Don't get me wrong. I'm 6 foot tall, 230 pound guy, so I'm not tiny. But a lot of people find that overwhelming to be kind of cocooned in tight while they sleep. They want room to move around a bit and stuff. The SOL bivy, I find for a person my size, just doesn't offer that. So I'm switching up my bivy bag, the outer layer, if you will, to this is a Trifecta V3, and I got the extra large version, which I know is overkill for the sleep system, but I can use this, if you've seen other videos, I can use this to make different types of shelters. It's just a more versatile piece of kit. So I'm going to be replacing off the SOL bivy and throwing in the Trifecta. That's the key of what I'm going to be doing today. But this is an Aegis Max sleeping bag. They have an Aegis Max green one that is quite popular and weighs 1 pound. I have that in my kit, and after using that for a period of time and seeing how well they made the sleeping bags, I switched up to their M2, they call it. It gives me a lower temperature that I can reach within it. I think it's down to 2 degrees Celsius just by itself, and weighs only, I think, a quarter pound or so more. It's like a 1 1/4 pound or so, so somewhere around 600, I want to say 700 grams for gram people. But inside that I keep my extreme thermal liner. This is a really thin piece of material, but they claim, this is the extreme one, I think they claim 15 or 25 degrees Celsius or some nonsense out of them. I've never found that to be true. You're going to get about probably a 6-7 degrees Celsius gain out of using this, in my perspective, after using it extensively through the winter. Using this with my sleeping bag inside the bivy with the SOL mylar coat, over top of everything, if you will. I managed to sleep comfortably with this sleep system in -9, -10 degrees Celsius, and was quite comfortable. I didn't find any cool spots or anything, to give you an idea of how versatile this system can be. But if you were sleeping in, say, 20 degrees Celsius, you could ditch the better part of all these innards and just sleep in the bivy bag itself if it was moist but still warm. You know, the range that I can get out of my sleep system when it comes to degrees Celsius is probably, I would say, about maybe close to 15 degrees Celsius below, and easily just pulling different things out if you only wanted to sleep in that, you know, all the way up to 20, 25 degrees Celsius. You know, you reach the point where you just sleep without any need for that kind of stuff. But so that's the kind of temperature rangings I'm getting out of this. I'll switch angles and kind of change things up now. Hold on. So yeah, after using this Trifecta V3, I was impressed enough with its performance and the size of it and everything else. I'm debating on whether I'm just going to leave these lines right on it, because this can be a tarp, it can be a sleep system, it can be a bunch of different things, if you will, when it comes to using it as a survival tool. So right now I've got it all opened up where I do believe I do. Oh no, maybe I sealed it up to be sleep bag stuff. So to give you an idea, I don't know if I'm catching this well on the camera, but this is a fairly large unit. So I've got guy lines tied off, because if I unzip this unit, right now I've got it set up to be like a sleeping bag, where I plan on putting everything into it and stuffing it inside the bivvy. That's the intent. But right now, like I say, I've got it where it's just open to this one end. But this whole thing can open right up and just turn into a tarp, which if you've seen other videos of mine, you'll see I've used it as such. So I like the idea of that level of flexibility, and I do like the idea that even though this might be a little overkill, I might switch down to the regular size, but I do like having a large tarp with me. And I'm debating in my mind of, do I want to go to the smaller version of this as part of the sleep kit, or stick with this because I like the size of the tarp that it gives me. So even though it's not going to be quite as efficient when I put this in, the thinking really will be that this will go inside. Chip that all out. This will go down inside the bivvy then, with the sleeping bag inside it, and then the liner inside that. So that'll be my kind of new layered system. But instead of you guys watching the ugly bits of me bumming around with putting this all inside, I'll just cut back when I'm there. Okay, well, I got past the dark and dirty scenes that just make the magic happen, where you didn't need to see the ugliness of me putting this all together, but really all I did was put one inside the other, inside the other, inside the other. But this sleep system, you know, I do a lot of bushcraft videos and tutorials and that kind of stuff, and kind of show people things that I know and like to share the knowledge I have when it comes to stuff. But when it comes to things like this, I could easily use this sleep system without a tarp, without setting up any kind of base camp at all. Just pull it out of my 35-liter bag, toss on the ground. If it was really windy and kind of hostile environment, if you will, in that regard, and I've pegged down the ends to make sure that it doesn't blow away anywhere, then I'm good. You know, throwing up a tarp and doing different configurations of those types of things, you know, it's good to know, good skills to have. But if I'm wanting to just move from day to day without really setting up a base camp, potentially maybe just throw together a quick tripod to hang the grill on. And, you know, I can do this and have the tripod and that up and running and get a fire going in, say, 10 minutes time. Where when you're done, you roll it back up, stick it in the 35-liter bag, and off you go. Well, take your loop back off the wood for the tripod and stuff, and off you go, right? It's a very quick and easy setup, but that's the main thing I like about this is the total weight. I mean, I'd have to throw it on scale, but if I remember when I worked it out before, it was close to 4 pounds. So I'll just call it 4 pounds. And it can get me down to a fairly cold temperature, the worst in the area of the world I'm in. And, I can be in the worst of the climates here, and this is ample for my situation. But I'll try it out in the next couple of videos with this new replacement for the SOL bivy. You know, I did like the SOL bivy. I used it for a long time. I had it in quite a few different shots that I took through time. It has served its purpose. I just find it's too small. If they made an extra large version of these, if you will, for people that are really adult size, I would stay with it. But when you get into these layered systems where potentially you want to just add a layer to go down in temperature, the size of the SOL bivy restricts it to having to be the inside layer of your sleep system rather than the out. You know, and I could still potentially do that, of turn around and between the liner and the sleeping bag, use this, then add another layer and drop a few more degrees probably. I don't have that need for it in my environment, but that kind of scalable system is achievable by doing this kind of thinking. So once again, I'll just kind of go through the layers of the setup. So I've got the foam insulated pad on the base of it to kind of start things off. And then immediately the Mylar bivy sits there with the sleeping bag inside it, and then the thermal liner that sits inside that. You know, you could vary out what products you use, and potentially, like I say, I'm really tempted to turn around and put this SOL bivy in between the sleeping bag and the liner. In fact, I might just do that now. You know what? I'm going to cut to scene. I'm just going to add that in right now. I'll come back. I think there might be a little hidden plot twist in this video. Awesome. Always good. So I kind of had a change of heart after thinking about the combination of how I was doing things. And I decided to re-add the SOL. I really do like this thing. And re-add the SOL bivy back into my sleep system. I was going to yard it out, and after kind of thinking about things, it's for the 8 ounces it weighs, it'll push my sleep system up to 4.5, maybe closer to 5 pounds. Still very light though for the flexibility. But I'm going inner liner, SOL bivy, sleeping bag, and then there's the Mylar liner for the trifecta, and now the Alpine bivy itself. So I think the combination of this, well, we'll have to test it out. I don't think the conditions in the location I'm in ever get down cold enough to even need that level of sleep system. But you can see it's more understanding the mindset of, yeah, you can have a thin inner liner, the reflectivity of always trying to get the body heat that you've created to be redirected back at you, and with layers of Mylar insulation, Mylar, it's really about just slowing down any loss of heat as much as possible. Like I say, I don't. This might even be overkill for my system, but I'm sure I'll be able to roll it up and just throw it back in the 35-liter bag. But I'll try it out and see if I just get too overheated with it, and you know, kind of adjust it. But I know when I've gone with this sleep setup where I had the inner liner, the SOL bivy, the sleeping bag, and the outer bivy, I was successfully able to get down to -9, -10 degrees Celsius. So, you know, the temperatures I was getting down to were definitely worth reaching. But I'll stop it here. If you come up with any ideas of how to improve my setup, you know, drop me a line, let me know. You know, leave a comment. Hopefully you like, share, subscribe for this type of content. And yeah, thanks for watching. Even doubles as a seat. Nice.